What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm covering another character analysis video. And in today's character analysis video, I'm gonna be covering a character introduced in season 7 of Thomas and Friends. Nope, it's not Emily, it's not Spencer, it's not and it's not either Arthur or Murdoch. It's Fergus, aka aka a character who had plenty of potential but was ultimately forgotten about. So real quick, I'm gonna show it. I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of Fergus's character. So for Fergus's character in the show, Fergus is a small railway-bound traction engine who works at the Sodor Cement Works, and Fergus is famous for his catchphrase of "Do it right." Fergus is an engine who likes to do everything the right way, and is a very big stickler for the rules. Fergus's stickler for the rules and by the book ways, even rivaling that of Duck's. With his catchphrase "Do it right," his insistence on doing everything according to the rule as accurately as possible can often annoy the other engines, such as Bill and Ben and Diesel. But Fergus is still a very kind-hearted engine, and will not hesitate to help others in trouble. He is also friendly to nearly everybody he meets, except for Diesel. And according to the very awful Thomas and Friends Writer's Bible made for the hit era, Fergus is suspicious of Diesel's, whom he considers as newfangled. And for Fergus's basis, Fergus is based off the Aveling and Porter 220 class locomotive known as the Blue Circle, in which this locomotive was built in 1926, and multiple of these locomotives worked at various industrial mines and factories over their lifetime, with about three of these locomotives still currently around as of 2026. Out of all of the new characters introduced in Series 7, Fergus is the one that is easily unique from the other 4 new characters introduced in Season 7. Whereas with characters like Emily and Spencer, whom after their introductions in Season 7 became very prominent characters after their introductions, and stuck around to the end of the and even stuck around to the very end of the show. Characters like Arthur and Murdoch stuck around for a while after Season 7, but eventually once the show switched over to full CGI, both Arthur and Murdoch were completely neglected and forgotten about. Whereas Fergus is different from the bunch, as Fergus did not become a mainstay after his introduction, and nor did Fergus stick around for a couple more seasons before disappearing. As after Fergus's introduction in Season 7, Fergus immediately completely vanished from the series without any trace. why do the production team create so many interesting characters just to completely fumble and barely and heavily underutilize them? As Fergus had a very short amount of time in the spotlight, so let's cover his 3 episodes. His first episode, Bill, Ben, and Fergus, revolves around Fergus having to work at one of the quarries with Bill and Ben. But however, Bill and Ben both give Fergus a hard time, and both engines are tired of Fergus's constant meddling. But after a landslide breaks the quarry, Fergus saves Bill and Ben by saving them from an avalanche. Ultimately, for Fergus to end up being covered with stones and rocks in the avalanche. Although Fergus managed to make it out of the avalanche okay. This episode was a very good start to Fergus's character, and it really shows how good his character is, and shows all the potential that his character had. Now moving on to his next episode. His next episode, Fergus Breaks the Rules. It is when Devious Diesel is brought over to the cement works to work with Fergus, and Diesel, well, being Diesel, tricks Fergus into believing that Fergus is no longer wanted, and because of this, Fergus ends up getting lost, and Thomas ends up having to find him. One thing that I found off about this episode was that the episode's title in the UK was called Fergus Breaks the Rules, and with a title like that, you'd expect this episode to be about Fergus accidentally breaking a rule that he would never do. But this episode is about Fergus getting lost and Thomas having to find him. Honestly, I prefer the US title for that being The Search for Fergus, as it seems like a more fitting title, and we get to see more of Fergus's character in this episode. And moving on to his final episode, that being Salty Stormy Tale. As for this episode, Fergus has to go with Salty to help repair a lighthouse so that a ship doesn't crash. And although Fergus doesn't do that much in the episode, Fergus does play a pretty significant role in the episode. As Fergus and Salty both help to mend the lighthouse. And that was it for Fergus's character. After season 7, Fergus was completely gone. Whilst Fergus still managed to maintain prominence within the merchandise, such as in Wooden Railway, Take Along, and Erdl, Fergus's TV presence was short-lived, with Fergus being introduced and then given the boot right after the season he was introduced in. The reason as to why Fergus never appeared after season 7 was because during the filming of Bill, Ben, and Fergus, Fergus's television series prop was damaged during the rock slide scene. During the filming of the rock slide scene, several rocks and stones got into Fergus's flywheel mechanism, causing it to malfunction. And Fergus also received a dent on his model. And this was ultimately why Fergus never appeared after season 7. And honestly, I find the reason behind Fergus being dropped from the show after season 7 to be completely BS. As why couldn't the production team just simply refurbish Fergus's model? Or better yet, why couldn't they have built a new model for Fergus? I mean, if they can build a bunch of duplicate models for several characters, then why couldn't they have built a duplicate model for Fergus? I mean, for season 8, they built a new model for Emily, which they would continue to use throughout the remainder of the throughout the remainder of the model era. But so why couldn't they build a new model for Fergus? Fergus is such an underutilized character. Now onto how I would fix Fergus. So I would utilize, the first thing I would do is that I would utilize Fergus after season 8, and I would also make some additional changes, such as for the season 8 episode Emily's Adventure. I would replace Emily with Fergus, just so that Emily doesn't act out off character, as I feel like this story would have worked better with Fergus, as I feel like Fergus would be the type to get impatient and start barking orders at other characters. I would also have Fergus replace Emily in Emily Knows Best, mainly to show a new side of Fergus's character by making him a little bit cocky and overconfident, mainly to make him stand out more. And after season 9, I would also make more episodes about Fergus, such as in season 10, I would make an episode about him and Arthur. In season 11, I would make an episode about him and Harvey, and I'd also give him more episodes in season 12. Give him an episode in season 12 too, and an appearance in The Great Discovery. And I would also have Fergus be in the CGI series, and I would have Tim Whitnell voice Fergus in both dubs. Anyway, that's been this character analysis video on Fergus. If you enjoyed this video, then I recommend go subscribe to my channel. Anyways, bye.